The first thing we noticed about the house was the smell. Not the damp rot of a neglected building, but a sweet, cloying odor, like overripe fruit and something vaguely chemical. It made the back of your throat itch. My sister Maya called it a steal. I called it a warning. The price was suspiciously low, and the real estate agent, a man with a smile too wide for his face, never made eye contact. "We'll call it a project," Maya said, her painter's hands already itching to strip the faded floral wallpaper. I, a programmer, was less optimistic. The angles of the rooms were subtly wrong, making me feel off balance. The first night, we heard the scratching. Not mice in the walls. This was slower, more deliberate. A dry, persistent scrape, like a fingernail being dragged along the underside of the floorboards. "Old houses settle," Maya declared, but her voice was tight. The project began. I focused on rewiring the antiquated electrical system. In the basement, behind a stack of mildewed newspapers, I found a metal box. Inside was a single leather-bound journal. The first page was inscribed with a name, Alistair Vex. The entries were not written in ink, but in a flaking brown substance I didn't want to identify. October 12th. The substrate is accepting the graft. The house breathes with it now. Symbiosis. November 3rd. The fecundity is spreading. The walls weep with potential. Soon it will be ready to bear my children. I showed it to Maya. She laughed, a brittle sound. "Some weirdo's creepy fan fiction. Toss it." I couldn't. The words burrowed into me. The scratching got louder. It started to have a pattern, a rhythm, a slow, patient heartbeat. A week later, Maya was stripping the wallpaper in the master bedroom. She screamed. I ran in to find her staring at the exposed wall. The plaster wasn't plaster. It was a mottled grayish pink, veined with pulsating purple capillaries. It was warm to the touch and slightly moist. "It's breathing," she whispered, her face pale. "We should have run. Called the police, the CDC, an exorcist. But we didn't. A strange lethargy had taken hold of us. The sweet smell was thicker now, clinging to our clothes, our hair. Our food began to taste like it. The house was changing us, or the thing Alistair Vex had called the fecundity. Maya's project changed. She stopped painting. She started sculpting. She gathered mud from the perpetually damp backyard, mixed it with her own saliva, and began shaping forms on the floor of the breathing room. They were small, lumpy, and horrifyingly organic. She called them her studies. I became obsessed with the journal. I deciphered Vex's madness. He wasn't a man, he was a concept. A will that had used a human form to impregnate the very structure of the house. The fecundity was his womb, and it was almost ready to give birth. The scratching stopped. The silence was worse. Last night, I found Maya in the breathing room. She was naked, kneeling before one of her clay figures. It wasn't clay. It had softened, taken on a fleshy tone. A tiny, lipless mouth opened and closed soundlessly. "It's time, David," Maya said, but her voice wasn't her own. It was a chorus of wet, tearing sounds. "The house needs a new father. Alistair is tired." The walls around her bulged. The veined capillaries throbbed, and the surface began to distend, forming shapes. Dozens of them. They were the things Maya had been sculpting, but now rendered in living, breathing flesh. They had too many limbs, eyes like pools of crude oil, and they pulled themselves free from the wall with a sound like Velcro tearing. They weren't looking at me. They were looking at Maya. They crawled towards her, mewling. She didn't scream. She opened her arms, a beatific, terrible smile. My children. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet. I scrambled down the stairs, through the living room that now felt like a throat, and threw open the front door. The world outside was gone. Not darkness, not a wall. It was a shifting, swirling membrane of the same mottled grayish pink as the walls, stretching into an impossible, fleshy horizon. The sky was a canopy of pulsing internal organs. The fecundity hadn't just infected the house. It had consumed the entire property, maybe more. We were inside it. I slammed the door and leaned against it, my breath coming in ragged sobs. From upstairs, I heard it, a new sound, rising above the wet chewing noises and Maya's blissful coos. A slow, deliberate scrape. Scrape, drag. Scrape, drag. It was coming from the other side of the front door. Something was out there, in that fleshy landscape, and it wanted in. I am in the basement now, writing this by the light of my phone, adding my own entry to Alistair Vex's journal. The sweet, cloying smell is so thick I can taste it on my tongue. It tastes like surrender. The scratching at the door has stopped. Now it's started on the basement door at the top of the stairs. It's stronger now, impatient. It knows I'm in here. And the walls down here, they're starting to feel warm.